Hey guys, I'm Brian. So my podiatrist called me the other day, and he said,
Mr. Turner, hi, your podiatrist here. Say, I've been meaning to ask, why Grumman anyway?
well, let's go over to the hangar and I'll show you. This is probably going to take a while. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. Alright, so why would you want to fly a Grumman? That's a great question. There's so many types of planes out there, and the Grumman is kind of a fringe aircraft. You know, you have your Cessnas and your Pipers, and then I guess you got your Moonies and Bonanzas, and then you have sort of fringe, you know, the Grummans and fighter jets and other things like that. But to me, the Grumman is sort of the unsung hero of aviation. It has anything you'd want in an aircraft and probably more. So let's talk about that. So you can see this Grumman Traveler is actually a 4-seater airplane. It has a ton of legroom in the back seat. You can fit 4 full-grown adults in this aircraft. Now, it won't take off, but you can fit them in there. So maybe you're waiting for somebody to show up and you need a place to sit. It's a place to be. So obviously folks want to know if it's fast, and you know, what exactly does fast mean? You want to know how this plane holds up compared to something like a Mooney? That's pretty easy. With this 160 horse Lycoming 0320 on the same fuel burn as a Mooney M20, that's right, double the cargo capacity. True story. All right, so let's get off the ground. Let's actually go fly the plane, and we'll look at the performance of this particular Grumman AA5 Traveler. Let's go. So what about actual speed? I've certainly had passengers look over and say, man, it looks like we're going slow. But if you pay attention, this inner ring measures our speed in Celsius, so the number's lower. And the outer ring here, it measures it in nautical kilometers. And so it's really tough to convert to miles per hour. It actually requires 2 E6Bs to do the conversion. That's just how Grumman does their speedometers, because they don't want passengers to freak out. So just go with it. A lot of critics of the Grumman will complain that the climb is lethargic, but those same critics shut up when you say, what about the descent? Here you can see I'm descending at over 1,200 feet per minute, and I'm doing it at 2,000 RPMs. You'd be hard-pressed to find another plane with this sort of performance. Okay, so I dodged the speed question just a little bit. So let's get to the point. Really, how fast is it? This plane compared to something like a Bonanza, is it as fast as a Bonanza that cruises at, what, 140, 150 knots? So this Grumman right here, just look at that paint job. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. You can tell by looking at the paint. It's the speeds. I gotta go. Unlike a lot of general aviation aircraft, the Grumman has what's called OIAS. That's Owner Indicated Airspeed. That's where the guy who owns the Grumman says things like, this plane's really fast because it doesn't have draggy things like rivets. It doesn't have rivets. This whole plane's held together by faith, hope, and staples. No, it's a glue. It's glue. Staples wouldn't. That'd be dumb. Okay, so is it fast? I don't want to talk about it. This plane is made by the same company that made the Wildcat, the Hellcat, the Tomcat, the Tiger Cat, the Bearcat, the Cougar, and the Panther. You're not going to name a plane after all those cats if it's slow. Ever try to catch a cat? Try it. You can't do it. Too fast. All right, let's talk about the air conditioning. Doesn't have it. Probably one of the best features is this canopy that opens, and I can open it in flight. Sorry. A lot of people underestimate the openability of the canopy and how great that is for you on these hot summer days. If you take a look at this thermometer in my panel, you can see it's 109 degrees on the taxiway, which is absolutely ridiculous. See those people in those Cherokees? They are hot and sweaty and miserable. It's disgusting. Meanwhile, here in the Grumman, it's like a breezy 62 degrees. It's just awesome. It's actually chilly.
And with this canopy open, I can fly through the rain. My hands are clean. Let me see you do that in your Bonanza.
There's lots of other benefits to a canopy that opens. You can use it to signal friends in the pattern. You can use it to address personal hygiene issues. And if you need to, you can help offload some of that less than useful load, slowing you down. Here's kind of another interesting feature. If you look at the ailerons here, there's no hinges. It's actually on a metal tube. It goes all the way through the end of the wing, and the aileron tube goes inside the flap tube. That tube goes inside the body, so there's no hinges. In the battle between hinges and tubes, tubes always win. Same thing on the elevator, no hinges. Got a bracket here with a tube that goes through the inside. Now for the trim, it's definitely a hinge, but if you look closely, this hinge, it has a tube going through it. So technically still tube. I'll show you something cool. Push the seat forward and then come back here and look, right there, this is a carry-through spar. This is actually the spar that the wing fits onto. It's a big fat tube. Giggity. Remember what I told you earlier about tubes? Being a tube means it has the same amount of strength in all directions. Your Cessna and Piper have a little rectangle paper mache thing here that doesn't have any strength in any direction, so look at that. You enter most aircraft using a door of some sort. Generally in planes they're connected via a hinge. Well, this canopy is actually mounted to the aircraft via a rail system. In the hierarchy of things that connect things to other things, it goes rails, tubes, nothing, and then hinges is last. I think the rudder might be connected with a hinge. So I don't use it. It looks like it's a tube. We're good. The fuselage of most general aviation aircraft are made of aluminum foil and popsicle sticks. The fuselage of the Grumman is actually solid. It's made from recycled Moonies. Inside here are a bunch of honeycomb structures, and if you know about honeycomb structure, it's like a lot of little tubes. Remember what I keep saying about tubes? In most planes, it's so thin, if you take a bird strike to the canopy, it's going to punch a hole, and guess what? Cabin full of birds. In a Grumman, no birds. Remember, it's named after a cat. Another great thing about these Grummans is you can fold this back seat down, and you've got a ton of cargo room back here. That's actually enough space to move the average two-bedroom apartment. But you're not moving, so what are you going to do? So you fold those seats down, you fill the back up with ice, 320 pounds of cold Coors Light. Where's the party at? That's right. No, it'd be at your hangar, except you filled it with Coors Light, and no self-respecting person would ever drink that stuff. It's horrible. Seriously, it's bigger than the hallway in my house. There's enough room back here to put anything. People have raised entire families in the back of a Grumman. It's crazy how much space is back here. There's an echo, but the sound hasn't finished getting to the back wall and bounce. Try not to look at that panel that I'm in the process. I'm replacing the interior. Just get over it. I've had friends actually hangar their Cessnas in the back of my Grumman. That's how much space is. The camera doesn't do it justice. Grummans are one of the few planes where you can actually stand up in the aircraft. It's nice if you need to stretch. Don't do it in flight, though. You could take a bird to the face. Sometimes if I'm going to an airport that doesn't have a courtesy car, I'll throw my car in the back of the Grumman and just take it with me. And it's got a castering nose wheel. So what does that mean? That's right, it means you get a brake job at every annual. The other good thing about this castering nose wheel is it makes it so much easier to push the plane back into the hangar. Let me show you. This can hold as few as 0 people, or as many as more than that. I have 2 times the cargo carrying capacity. With this 160 horsepower Lycoming 320, my Grumman has twice the cargo carrying. I've actually heard stories where people have bought a plane like this and gotten it home and found another plane in the back of it. Oh, your wife kicked you out of the house and you don't have a place to sleep? You got a Grumman, you always got a home. Before you fly, you always want to put oil in your plane. Most airplanes, they give you this little door here you open and you try to get the oil in. Not Grumman. The hood on this Grumman is as big as a Lincoln Town car. They want you to be able to get in there and work on this thing. If I knew how, I would. So you're probably wondering, with all that power, how many gallons this thing burns. All of them. I've never landed and had any gallons left in the plane. This engine's very thorough. In all seriousness, I've had people ask me how you tell the Grummans apart, the Traveler Cheetah, Tiger. The Traveler, Cheetah, and Tiger are all actually the same body. The primary difference between the Traveler, Cheetah, and Tiger, really, the Traveler has a fin down on the bottom here that the other two don't have, and then the horizontal stabilizer is 1.5 feet narrower on each side, and it's tapered. Other than that, it's the same airframe. The Traveler and Cheetah have 150 or 160 horsepower, 320 with the high compression pistons. The Tiger's the same airframe, it just has the 180 horsepower motor. Other than that, they're all kind of the same. So this is about a 115 knot plane. My useful load on this is about 860 pounds. I burn 7.6 gallons per hour is what I figured out. I do feel like the Grummans are a little underrated in the market for performance. I think they look cool. Some people think they look goofy. I know that's kind of a weird look with the bubble canopy, but the visibility is great. And I think they're just, personally, I think they're sharp looking planes and they're fun to fly. I kind of equate it to a sort of a Jeep of the sky. And I do, with the canopy being able to open here in Texas, to me is invaluable, especially when taxiing, but also in flight. I do have it open most of the time because it's pretty hot here and it does cool it down quite a bit, even if you open it just a crack. But anyway, something to consider if you're ever looking for a plane to have some fun with and you're not dead set on, a Mooney or Viking type speed or Bonanza type plane. They're good aircraft. So thanks for watching. Fly safe. Grumman. It's faster than a Cub.